Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ego Friendly Banter. Today, I'll be talking about something called empathic burnout and basically knowing the difference between compassion and sympathy, or just pathological altruism, and knowing when to stop, and maybe just share my perspective on this whole thing. This video is for everybody who overperforms, who overdoes everything, whether to prove it themselves or to please others, or to think that this is just their responsibility, nobody else could do something, that they have to do it, especially for elders, siblings, or healers, or people who think that they are here to transmute others' sufferings, people with bodhisattva vows from past lives, but they are not aware of them. For everybody who finds themselves enmeshed in the relationship where other person's emotions become their emotions, other person's happiness and sadness become their sadness, and they have lack of clear boundaries. When we are on a spiritual path, including me, we sometimes think that we are here for a spiritual purpose and we are here for a greater purpose, and our purpose might include awakening others or telling others about the quote unquote spiritual truths or whatever, so that they are liberated. But one, it is very important to realize that all of that should come from a complete cup. Like, you have to fill your cup first and then serve the world from the overflow. Because if your own cup is empty, which means you yourself have not realized those things, then maybe the entire purpose of over serving the world, you might actually be far from the path itself. Because then this whole thing will become a desire and eventually might turn into more ego. I won't say narcissism, but more self obsession, or thinking that we are the chosen one. This word is so used these days, like the chosen one and all those things, or the old soul, etc., that instead of giving humility, instead of imparting humility, people become even more egoistic and think that they are special ones. So, that entire point of suffering is to make you more humble, is to make you realize that whatever you are clinging to is not the truth, and that is exactly the thing that you need to overcome. But when that happens, when you think that the suffering happened because you're the chosen one, because you had this burden of your bloodline healing or clearing or whatever, there's a chance that it might give rise to more ego. So the entire purpose of suffering and all that you had to go through starts refuting itself. This is what I personally believe. If one has to be a messiah, if one has to help somebody, it will happen on its own. Why? Because all of us are connected. The first principle, when you step on the path of spirituality, when you start realizing that you are not this body and the spirit who is inhabiting this body, you slowly come to realize that even this card or this wood or the crystal or whatever, the table, the glass, nothing is separate from you. It is all you. Even I am you. So all of us, we are connected. All of us are one energy, which is taking different forms or different manifestations. Sri Ramana Maharishi also said, the biggest gift that you can give to the mankind is your own self-realization. So this thing that comes with empathic burnout is that when you are on the path, you open your heart chakra, and then you suddenly become very kind and compassionate. But there's a very thin line between being compassionate and being sympathetic. Sometimes we think that our sympathy is compassion, but no. Sympathy comes from a feeling that I hope I could do something for the other person, and then feeling sad to a point where you start taking up their energy. Which is why many empaths, including me, we have suffered from energy attacks or all those things. Why? Because we are extending that energy outwards, thinking that there is something that we have to do, there is something that we have to achieve, there's someone that we have to heal, there's someone that we have to liberate. No, you don't have to. There is nothing really to do. All that doing, all that striving, it is also a roadblock on the path to spirituality, and I believe to the path of realization itself. Why? Because the realization happens only when you realize that there's nothing really to strive for, right? So when you are giving, it has to be from a full cup. If your own cup is empty, then what exactly will you give? You can give only what you have. But if you yourself don't have anything, right, in these terms I'm talking about the spiritual merit or the sadhana or understanding or knowledge, then everything that you are giving from, of course, a perspective of saving somebody, of liberating somebody, it will be also incomplete. The compassion, which is an act of mercy, it happens when you realize that the world, no matter how dark it might seem, no matter how bad somebody's suffering might seem to you, no matter how much it pains you, it is happening because of their prarabdha, because of their samskar, because of their karma. And it has to happen. Why? Because suffering cleanses the other, cleanses everybody. Whosoever is suffering from something, they are being cleansed through it. You are somebody who also had to go through that path, right? Sometimes we think that I really hope and pray that nobody goes through the things that I had to go through and all those things. But if you had not gone through the exact things that happened in your life, you would not have reached these realizations. You would not have maybe had the kind of knowledge or wisdom or the spiritual experiences that you had. So why are we praying, or why are we hoping that somebody else not have those experiences, not realize who they truly are, not realize their true nature? So, this message is especially for everybody who is in the healing field, or whoever is on the spiritual path, who feels very, very compelled to heal their bloodline, to heal the other people. I want to serve other people, and I want to, do something for the world. That's fine. That is a sense of service that all of us should have. We all should give generously, as much as you can. Never, never, never hold the things to yourself. Give generously, whether it's knowledge, whether it's money or clothes or whatever you can. But never think that world will go to pieces if you don't do that. That you are somebody who has been chosen to do it. No, that is only strengthening your ego. And getting rid of the ego is the only thing that is paramount to your spiritual progress. I don't know how accurately I'm able to explain these messages, but these are coming very fast. So I think, to begin with, we have to understand what compassion is, and then understand what pathological altruism is. Sometimes we end up dumping all the spiritual knowledge on other people who have not even begun on the path, and it can be extremely triggering if you end up saying, forgive your parent or partner or whatever, to a person who's not on the path and who has suffered or experienced a lot of trauma because of the other person. That person might get triggered to a point where they might do something wrong. I hope you are understanding what I'm saying, because then they'll become even more guilty. So this is very, I believe, covert kind of victim blaming. So all this projection, all this sharing of spiritual truths and wisdom and all those things, they should come from a place of sharing it, yes, but only when you embody it fully. There were a lot of times when I wanted to share certain things that I read in the books and everything, but I couldn't. Either my phone would stop charging, or it would fail, or the videos would just not get uploaded. And that's when I realized that my guru is, pointing to a very important truth that I had failed realizing, that it is not my duty. It is not something that I have to do. It is something that should spring forth out of compassion naturally, as if I'm completely surrounded by the seeds of um, quote unquote enlightenment or awakening. And wherever I walk, those seeds just keep on falling. But I'm not the one who is dropping those seeds. But before all of that happens, I have to make sure that I'm surrounded by those seeds. I can't be someone who knows nothing, who has just read a page, or who has just gained some experience or an insight and thinks that now it's her purpose to save the world. And that stupidity. We can't do that. And Pathological Altruism is actually, it's a nice book. I would recommend all of you to read it. I can give the link of it in description box below. And whenever you feel that you're having energy attacks, this is especially for people who feel that they get attacked by energy quite often and everything. This means that you're directing that energy outward. This means that you have not centered all your wisdom or your knowledge, and your attention is still scattered. Of course, if you get certain kind of insights that something that happened, etc., it's a feedback loop. That's fine. It also very protective as someone who is sensitive to energies. But you'll observe that all of it was because your energy was going to different places, was confused. Growth of any kind happens because of sadness, maybe trigger, of course, a lot of hard work and all of that. But on spiritual path specifically, it's because of suffering, and we cannot stop that. If one is trapped in that cycle of suffering, like so many of us have had experienced in the past or whatever, it is because we are not ready for the changes, or we are not ready to accept everything as a consequence of our previous actions. If you don't believe in past lives, well, this might not be for you. You can change the video, but everything is happening because of your karma. Everything is happening because of that karmic law, and we are basically balancing it. And the only purpose is to realize, you can watch that video on Swadhyay, that you have to let go of that doership. And once you start witnessing everything that is happening as it is, whatever is happening, and you let it happen, you distance yourself from the law of karma itself to a great extent. And that is when these insights come forth like a spring, the spring water. And then from that overflow, you can eventually give it to other people. If your life is in shambles, if you're in a pause, if you are cosmically asked to rest and you don't know what your purpose is, calm down, relax yourself. The purpose will reveal itself. You work on you, just get all that psychic energy back and let go of this desire. We often don't see this as a desire, but it is to serve the world, to serve the humanity. No. Do it out of compassion because you want to, but not to save others. Yes, we can share the insight, but that's all. It is always good to be there for them, always good. Be there, be available whenever they need help, extend that help, but nowhere to draw the line. So these porous boundaries or this enmeshment, sometimes we learn this as a child when we are kids. If our parents don't have a good relationship, for example, then we'll see which parent we are more connected to, and we'll start observing their micro movements, micro expressions, and all their emotions will become our emotions. So even if a child is very happy, playing in the garden or whatever, and coming back home and seeing their mother sad, then the child will instantly know that my mother had maybe a fight with my dad or whatever. And then the child will try to please the mother. And then when the mother is still sad, the child will take up all that sadness. That is how the enmeshment begins. There are other reasons as well, and this is just one example. And slowly, this particular child starts learning those micro expressions of everybody, starts observing everything a little too much, and then starts picking up those energies of other people, of the environment, of people who are sitting far far away from them in space and time, which means they're setting themselves up for a lot of suffering which is not even theirs. Do not strengthen your ego, do not pressurize yourself, do not do something that you are not set out to do. Our goal is liberation, but we should not be aware of that goal, right? When we are aware of that goal, it becomes a desire, and that is exactly what has to be gotten rid of. So serve from the excess, fill yourself, your own body, your own mind, your soul. It deserves compassion. Do not burn yourself out. Get your energy back. Even in corporate job, I think I was so overstressed. I overperformed all the time because I thought that nobody else could do my job. Who else? If I won't, so I would wake up till 4 in the morning. I would overdo everything, and then after 4 to 5 days, I would fall sick every single day. For 5 months, this kept on happening. Why? Because I thought that nobody else would do my job. It's only after I gave my resignation letter that I realized that what the hell was I doing to myself? Before those 5 months, the work was being done. And after my notice period or whatever, the work will still be done. So why was I doing that to myself? That stupidity was my own. So just be patient, just be tolerant with others, be there with them while they go through a hard time. Just that availability, and then pray for them. Do whatever you can generously, but that's all. Do not put yourself on a pedestal. Don't do that. Be tolerant and patient with yourself as well, especially to my healer brothers and sisters. I send you love. If you find this video very rude, I'm sorry, not sorry. I know that there will be people who'll understand what I'm saying, who will be resonating with it. Lots of love.